gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a classic to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a classic to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. 'Cause that'll be the life. 'Cause that'll be the life.
Hello again and welcome to episode 64 of Main Street Martin and our January 2026 week in Malta, staying in the coastal resort of Sliema. And this time for episode 2, amongst other places, we visit the neighbouring island of Gozo and Malta's 3 cities. In previous episodes you'll find trips to Walt Disney World, Disneyland Paris, various other theme parks in the United States and Europe, as well as other holidays in Mexico, Portugal and Spain, for example. We've cruised on various princess ships and with MSC, providing Mediterranean cruise series in places like Marseille, Rome, Naples and Athens. Don't forget you can still check out all of the previous episodes right here on the channel, and if you enjoy any of them, please make sure you click on the like button, ring the notification bell to be informed of any future episodes, and please subscribe if you possibly can. Now this time we take a morning ferry to Valletta, cross the city to pick up the fast ferry to the small but stunning island of Gozo, where some friends who live on the island are taking us to see some of the places tourists rarely visit.
So early morning on our third day, and we're off to the ferry terminal because we're taking a ferry from Sliema to Valletta and then walking across Valletta to get the fast ferry to Gozo. This is our second ferry of the day, the fast ferry from Valletta to Gozo.
Now, depending on the time of year that you go to Gozo, there is so much to do. You can explore the ancient temples, the oldest freestanding structures in the world, and marvel at the views from the citadel, a fortified city that dates back to the Bronze Age. You can also perhaps dive into the crystal clear waters of Dwejra Bay, where you can swim through a natural arch and see the famous fungus rock, or maybe just soak up the sun on the sandy beaches and enjoy the local cuisine and culture. Gozo is a joy to discover and a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. When you arrive on the island, All roads lead to the citadel in Rabat, also known as Victoria. It's a small fortified town that has seen a lot of history and offers a glimpse into medieval times. Now, as I said, we've been to Gozo before, but this time we met up with a couple of friends who live on the island, and they took us to a few places that tourists wouldn't ordinarily get to go. And we start with the Talmixter Cave. It's huge, it's a wonderful gathering space, and it has a perfect view of Ramla Bay, from which it can be accessed up the cliff on the far right of the bay.
One of the bonuses of knowing people who live on Gozo is that they know about places like this. A stunning cave.
Now, full disclosure, I was planning to film a lot more on the island of Gozo, but unfortunately on the morning that we arrived I had a fall and subsequently discovered I got 2 broken ribs and a gashed arm amongst other things, so I wasn't really feeling 100% and didn't film as much as I wanted to. But as you can see from what we did film, the island is beautiful, there's plenty to see, and if you want to find out more, visit the website at visitgozo.com. Next we moved on to the Wid Il Mila. It's a limestone natural arch on the northwestern coast of the island, and it's located at the end of the valley, just north of the village of Garb. The natural arch is less well known than the Azure window, which collapsed in March 2017 following a heavy storm. We followed this narrow staircase along the rock to just before the window itself, almost as far as the water. And since the ceiling of the window is still thick, as you can see, you can still walk above it. The northern coast of the island is characterised by a plateau with steep cliffs which slope down into the sea, where there are many caves. On the plateau itself, artificial salt pans were used to extract salt from the seawater by evaporation. This is the shrine of Our Lady of Tarpinu, with origins shrouded in mystery, but it first appeared in historical records around 1575. In 1858, the church was renamed Tarpinu after Pinu Gauci, who financed its restoration. The shrine gained fame back in 1883 when a local resident, Carmela Grima, reported hearing the Virgin Mary's voice, leading to her miraculous recovery and increased pilgrimages. Bishop Pietro Pace confirmed the heavenly origin of these events, prompting the construction of a brand new Romanesque church in 1920. It was completed in 1932 and elevated to minor basilica by Pope Pius XI in 1935. Pope John Paul II visited the shrine back in 1990, praying in the chapel and celebrating Mass in its forecourt. And then in 2010, Pope Benedict XVI honoured the shrine by presenting a golden rose to the painting of Our Lady. Finally, in 2022, Pope Francis also visited Tarpinu, where he left the gift of a golden rose, which joins the one left by Pope Benedict in 2010.
So excuse the construction noise, but this is Arb. This is where they film the series Madame Blanc. So this is in Gozo, but for the sake of that series, becomes part of southern France.
This is the second oldest village parish in Gozo, established in 1679. It's attractive and particularly interesting and full of history. Archaeological excavations have revealed the remains of Neolithic and Bronze Age settlements. The Phoenicians were here, followed by the Romans and the Byzantines, and the name itself is Arabic, suggesting the establishment of an organised community here during the Arab domination between 870 and 1090 AD. The inland sea here is a natural lagoon, separated from the Mediterranean Sea through a narrow opening formed by a natural arch and a 50-metre cave. The beach inside is also very picturesque, with traditional colourful fishing boats bobbing up and down. The Maltese Lutsu boats pass through the tunnel and take visitors to explore the nearby caves, Fungus Rock and the Azure Window. And both the Azure Window and the Inland Sea are very popular diving sites.
So today, this is a small harbour in front of Sliema. We're heading that way up to the point and round the corner to St Julian's. See what we can see round there. If you fancy a harbour cruise or something similar, plenty of these ticket kiosks along the seafront. So this is one church we haven't actually been into yet, so while we're on our way around the bay, we're going to go in and have a look as we head round towards the point at the end here where there's a shopping centre, and then round the corner into St Julian's Bay. So these are the steps up to Tigné Point, I think it's pronounced. The Point shopping centre is up here as well, with a number of restaurants and places to eat as well. This is the tower at the end of Tigné Point, with some amazing views over the bay to Valletta. These restaurants look nice down here as well on the seafront. This is a reasonably new development, and the shopping centre is behind you the way we just came. So this is a really impressive shopping centre on several levels. It's actually a food court 2 floors down as well. Imagine in season that this is absolutely packed with people, but in January, as you can see, the pools are sometimes empty, but all of them seem to be closed. It's a really nice walk actually on the promenade from Sliema through to St Julian's and beyond. Even out of season, it's less crowded, still quite sunny, bit of a breeze, still plenty of people around though. St Julian's Watchtower, which was built in 1658, I think. And this is St Julian's Bay. Just as you enter into St Julian's Bay, there's this lovely park. So the statue on the top of the toilet block gives you an idea that this is a park for cats. And in the middle here are lots of cat houses. There's a cat just over this hedge. And then here, lots of cat houses, as you can see at the back, where they can sleep at night. There's a couple in there at the moment. And baskets here, and this is run by a charity that looks after them, make sure they're healthy, neutered and cared for, which is a nice idea. Welcome to our final day. We just got the bus to Valletta and we're just going to get a connecting bus to the three cities.
The city of Birgu, or Vittoriosa, is an old fortified city on the south side of the Grand Harbour. It was settled in medieval times, and prior to the establishment of Valletta as the capital and main city in Malta, military powers that wanted to rule the Maltese islands would need to take Birgu in order to control the Grand Harbour. The city served as the base of the Order of St John in the 1500s and is well known for its vital role in the Great Siege of Malta in 1565.
So this is Birgu, or Vittoriosa. The harbour is down there. We just got off the bus and we're just going to head down here to have a look at the Inquisitor's Palace.
Он же хочет меня там что-то. А я посмотрела. Посмотри, мне
First of all, this is the Malta War Museum.
Now, there are many things to do in Birgu and across the three cities, as there are of course in Valletta. One of them is Fort St Angelo, which is spectacular and well worth a few hours visit. However, as we've been there before, we're not going to do that on this trip, but we'd certainly recommend it if you haven't been before. Don't forget you can check out our previous videos in Malta, Gozo and Camino on this channel, and I'll put a link at the top of the screen right now to our previous episode in the three cities in which we visit Fort St Angelo. So this is the Malta at War Museum, housed in an 18th century army barracks which served as a police station and air raid precaution centre during the Second World War. It sits on top of a massive underground rock-cut air raid shelter which offered refuge to hundreds of people, and as you'll see later, this shelter has been restored and forms part of the museum experience. The museum has a rich collection of period artefacts and memorabilia ranging from personal items, documents, medals, uniforms and weaponry. And it also features numerous period newsreels and sounds, hands-on interpretation and multilingual audio guides. In fact, you can watch the first documentary ever made on the island, Malta GC. It's a short film released by the Crown Film Unit in January 1943 on the wishes of King George VI, who wanted all of his subjects to witness with their own eyes the brave endurance that Malta was putting up in the face of impossible odds at a time when she received the George Cross for bravery.
Most of the time, yeah. Some of the times you could have a bit, obviously, depending on the person.
Jag kan se på, så blir det göra det bästa.
So these are the air raid shelters. So a maze of corridors and stairs. Bunks and sleeping areas.
Now, I have to say we were pleasantly surprised by the Malta at War Museum. It was much more extensive than we'd ever thought it could possibly be. If you want to go along, we'd certainly recommend it. It's situated on the eastern side of the Grand Harbour in Vittoriosa or Birgu and is conveniently housed in the Couvreport Gate. If you're travelling from Valletta, you need to take either the number 2 or the number 3 bus from Valletta main station. There's a bus stop just outside the Couvreport Gate in Vittoriosa, which is the nearest bus stop to the museum. So get off there and it's just a couple of 100 metres walk to the entrance of the museum. After exploring more of the city and taking a break for a coffee, we eventually went to the Inquisitor's Palace, also known as the Sacred Palace. It was the seat of the Maltese Inquisition from 1574 to 1798 under the name Palazzo del Sant'Officio. The building was originally constructed as a courthouse known as the Castellania in the early 16th century, but little remains of the original building due to major alterations and renovations carried out in the subsequent centuries. After the Inquisition was abolished during the French occupation of Malta in 1798, the palace was used for a number of different purposes, including a military hospital, a mess hall and a convent. It's been a museum since 1966, being known as the National Museum of Ethnography since 1992. In fact, the building is one of the few surviving palaces of its kind in the world and the only one open to the public. Well, this was another fantastic experience and something we definitely recommend. The experience, as you've seen, is divided into 3 sections. The first is the domestic and historic kitchen area at ground floor level, then the official halls and the private quarters, which extend to 2 floors, and the third part is the spaces pertaining to the Holy Office itself, including the tribunal chamber, the torture chamber and the prison complex. As we continued to explore the city, we came across this beautiful church. It's the Collegiate Church of St. Lawrence. It's one of the most important churches in the region and is noted for its architectural beauty and historical significance. It's dedicated to St. Lawrence, the patron saint of the town, and it holds the title of Collegiate Church because it's the seat of a collegiate body of canons and has an important religious role within the community. It was built in the late 16th century, with its construction beginning in 1592 under the direction of the Order of St. John. It was erected to replace an older church which had been destroyed during the Great Siege of Malta in 1565. It was completed in 1614 and consecrated in the same year, and over the years it's become a central place of worship for the people of Vittoriosa and played a vital role in the religious and social life of the community.
Well, I have to say, this is one of the most ornate, beautiful churches I think I've ever seen. Just unbelievably beautiful.
And I'm afraid that's it for now from this episode in Gozo and the 3 cities of Malta. Make sure you join me next time and subscribe to the channel if you can, because we've got many more city breaks, holidays and cruises planned for the future. In the meantime, take a look at the other videos on the channel. It features Caribbean and Mediterranean cruises, our visits to eco parks and theme parks in Mexico, the United States and across Europe, and you'll also find many city breaks in the UK and Europe as well, with short breaks providing you with top tips, hints and ideas. If you enjoy any of the videos on the channel, you can really help us out by clicking on the like button, ringing that notification bell and subscribing. And who knows where we're off to next, so I hope you can join me next time for episode 65 of Main Street Martin.
I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a class to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight.